had that mic laptop face in front of me.
That's what
welcome
they
back. Welcome
welcome
back
my
to the
man.
show to Sam Antar. You always know when Sam Antar is coming because I've seen so many things on Twitter or X. Oh man, they the only people that gave Sam Antar that much time. Oh yeah, we love Sam. You got a big following. All
Hold on
across,
1 second.
all across social media, I see a lot of comments about you being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure. I like the format because when you're on television, like I was on Newsmax earlier today, and you really don't get a chance to go into depth. So
Right.
this is when you, and sometimes, we're human. We misspeak.
Right.
We don't say what we actually meant to say, and you have no recovery from that.
Right.
So that's why I like being on your podcast.
There's no more long form shows like that. There's very few. This used to be the standard, and it's very long form. Everything is in 15-minute blocks or whatever. You come in, you say what you got to say on both sides, then you move to the next thing. And sometimes you can't get everything you want to say in 10, 15 minutes. I used to be on WVOX on the Bob Marone show, and I used to have about 10 minutes. And every time I got off, I'm like, oh man, I forgot to mention this. I forgot to mention this. I forgot to mention this. It's hard to get everything in 10 minutes.
No matter how good or bad I did, I always say, I should this, should that.
Right. Yeah, so I understand. So we try to, when we can, we try to have more of these long form interviews and discussions because you can get more into it.
Actually, I like radio better because I don't have to wear a shirt and tie. I can do the interview in my underwear.
Yeah. Exactly. So Sam,
Hey,
man,
there's some Zooms where I still got my boxes on. You can only see me from the top up. So I ain't gonna lie with you.
I always tell the producers, don't go any lower because it'll show my belly. I gained 25 pounds because of this magnificent lady, Letitia James.
Yeah, she's been keeping you busy, man. She's been keeping you busy though.
She's very high maintenance, and she takes up a lot of my life. She's a high maintenance lady.
Let me ask you a question because someone asked this shortly after you were on last time. And I really didn't know the full answer, and I haven't had time with all the local stuff going on. I haven't had time to get into it. The situation where the governor put certain amount of money up, so it's towards her defense. Can you speak? What's going on with that?
They passed the bill last minute. It was like they tried to sneak it in towards the end of the legislative session. It was a $10 million allocation. It was really the only person that they can think of that was facing so-called political persecution is James. So they didn't have to put a name on it, but they passed the bill reimbursing him up to $10 million for political persecution.
So the question people are having without, the regular people who don't really understand what's going on, it looks like we're using of our taxpayer dollars to defend her in a case that we shouldn't be paying for to defend her.
That's correct. I'll explain to you why. You guys have bought insurance before like I have, okay? There's something called they can't cover certain things as a matter of public policy. In other words, they can't cover me if I intend to shoot somebody, right? And the person gets injured and I have to pay the medical bills. That's against public policy. In other words, intentional acts. Here, okay, you have intentional acts that are also completely outside of her employment. You see, there was another case, the sex offender case. Did she appear on your show?
No, on the 13th. On the 13th.
13th, okay. Well, there was a case where somebody said that she covered up inappropriate sexual behavior by one of her top lieutenants, and In that case, yes, it is covered, and that's why the state paid for her legal fees for her defense. Okay, because she was in the supervisory role and she allegedly failed to do her job. That we get. But this thing has nothing to do with any of that. This is mortgage fraud before she even became the Attorney General of New York, while Trump was still a Democrat. While most of your reader, listener, or watching, whatever, most of the audience was in diapers.
Right, right.
That's not the case over here. Now, the funny part is that the same law firm she used to go after Cuomo for sexual abuse, she used to defend her in the lawsuit where somebody was alleging that she failed to rein in the sexual abuse. So she uses them, Davis Polk, for one thing, to go after Cuomo, and then she has them defending her.
Wow, that's insane, man. That's
well,
insane.
On the street they say AG stands for aspiring governor.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think she's going to be governor again. I think if you're a Democrat, there's a great alternative. His name is Richie Torres. I don't agree with all of his policies, but one thing I can say about Richie, he's common sense and he speaks his mind and he's not afraid to ruffle feathers. Okay, yes, disagreeing doesn't mean disrespecting. He on the other side you got Elise Stefanik, and who is the McCarthy, the lieutenant governor, under Pataki. Betsy Macaulay, I think her name is.
Oh, she's running. Isn't what's his name? That beat Mondaire Jones. Isn't he running?
Lawler?
Yes, yeah. He's running. He's running too, and
yes.
So I think between these people, I'm not trying to pick the winner of them. I'm not trying to show you. Right. I don't think that she's going to be governor next time around. If she wins the Democratic primary, she's going to lose the election. If she loses the Democratic primary, I think the Democrats have a shot to beat the Republican.
Yeah, because what's his name? What's the brother's name? The lieutenant governor that she locked out. Delgado. Yeah. He's well liked. I mean, and she did him dirty, but we're gonna see, man, because the Democratic Party machine in New York is like crazy. Like it's really crazy.
I'll tell you this. I went over Delgado's finances like I went over Tish. In the names of the police captain in the Godfather movie, when Michael is meeting with the Turk, I frisked him. He's clean.
Well, hey, listen, he's honest. You know what I'm saying? Like that's rare, right? That's rare when you're dealing with campaign finances, and a lot of people, don't know where to look.
Oh yeah, that's true too. I mean, I would like to see. Listen, I know of him. I haven't really followed the the ins and outs of it. I'd like to see anybody but her with common sense run.
I don't know a lot about his policies or his beliefs. All I know is he got a wicked jump shot because they were showing that when he was running.
I don't have to agree with his policies as long as he's a thinker, as long as he's intelligent. There are things like Richie Torres. I disagree with him on congestion pricing.
I disagree with him a few times too.
Right. Yeah. But I agree with him on law and order and a bunch of other issues. You're not going to get a person that you're going to be. You'd have to have your head examined if you're fully aligned with one person, because that means that person is developing a cult. Go ahead.
But are they going to remain going far left? Because see, sooner or later, going so far left, it's going to hurt the party. It doesn't hurt the party nationally, right?
Well, Richie Torres broke away from the far left in that last. Yes. He caught a lot of flack for breaking away.
Yeah, and he's still getting a lot of flack. It's not easy, especially in New York. You have to think beyond what you see in front of the camera, what you read. This guy must be under incredible pressure for the stances he's taking. Okay, absolutely. I commend him for it. That shows you that he's a man. Okay, he's not afraid. I could disagree with here and there, but this is the kind of a guy that you want to be governor. I'm not saying he's the only one, but this is the kind of guy, a guy that stands up for his principles. Even if you disagree with him, he fights back. He has articulate arguments. He's got common sense. Yeah, he screws up sometimes. We're all human. That's why I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, I will tell you this, barring any other candidate in the Democratic primary as a registered Democrat, I'd vote for him.
I mean, you know,
you should get him on your show.
No, we're gonna try. We're definitely.
I reached out to him before. I'm gonna try to reach out to him again.
Damon, Damon, just pretend you're Samuel Jackson.
I could get him on the show, right?
You don't know. Sometimes behind the scenes, Damon curse like Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. Someone,
one of my favorite actors of all time.
Someone asked, so why has Letitia James not been prosecuted?
Okay, white collar, unlike street crime, okay, where it's pretty black and white. You got fingerprints on the weapon, you have a witness that did it, etc. Most white collar cases, you got to piece together millions of pieces of paper of evidence. Okay, some circumstantial, some direct. You got to develop a foundation of evidence. Now they have a lot of evidence, but you know what's missing? Have they spoken to the title companies? Have they spoken to the insurance broker? Have they spoken to the mortgage officer? Have they spoken to this? You know, that's that's part of the process, and that takes time. You know, I don't think she will be. What?
I don't think she'll be indicted no sooner than the end of this year. I think around the end of this year.
Probably. I don't know.
You know, they take so the reason the feds are so successful and have such a successful conviction rate, they take time and they line everything up. When they come for you, they pretty much already got you.
That's what my lawyer said back in the Crazy Eddie days. He says, you better cop a plea, mate.
Right, because it's like they're investigating, but they don't announce that they're investigating. They might be, you know, the feds will be on your block. They'll be the people cutting your grass. They'll be doing all kinds. You don't know who they are. They take their time and build their case, and they like to knock it out the park. Like they know they can knock it out the park before they actually go in. And especially with a high-profile person like herself, you want to make sure that you have everything if you're going to go for
on something like this. You have to be 99.9. Let's put this. Even if what do you call it? Let's say she committed a crime. Absolutely. And I believe she committed a crime. Okay. And they believe that she committed a crime. If they feel they're not going to win the case, they're not going to bring it.
Right. Okay.
That doesn't mean she's innocent. That just means that it wasn't a winnable case. That's all that means. I wish Jonathan, right? That was his name, Jonathan, the lawyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish he was here.
Yeah. You know what?
Get him on the air. Get him on the air now. Get him on the air now.
Next time we got to bring him on, man. I totally forgot to ask him, and it just slipped my mind. So, Jonathan, I still love you, man. I still love you. But what you talked about, in your latest about possible Rico.
Yes, and it's a very technical thing, and it's very difficult to describe on the air. But I'll give you the dumbed down version, not because the audience is dumb, but it's a very complicated thing to understand. Okay, if you have a series of criminal acts over certain periods of time, and you have what's known as an enterprise. Now, an enterprise doesn't have to be like a business. It can be one person that utilized a bunch of enablers. That's an enterprise too. They tried to get me on Rico. Okay. And you know, what else is there? Let me see my hair. But anyway, if you have a string of frauds, you can go back 20 years under Rico.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, here it is. Okay. It has to affect interstate commerce. This does. Okay. A pattern, 2 related crimes within 10 years. Definitely. She did 10 mortgages in 20 years. Okay. And a connection between the defendant and the enterprise through criminal activity. The enterprise in this case would be defined as her whole ecosystem that's around her that enabled her to do the behavior.
Okay.
So his latest article, I just want to, I put a link up, how Saran Mandani, I hope I pronounced it right, grassroots campaign engineered the perfect political heist. Written on
we're gonna get to that next.
Yeah. This guy's got a money trail. This guy has a money trail and makes a money launderer like me jealous.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one next.
I gotta give you one thing. With Letitia James, I would call a dumb crook. He's sharp. He knows how to do his thing.
Yeah. So let's get into the points of the Rico, because you mentioned, I'm trying to find man, you write a lot of stuff, man. I can't keep up with you. I'm trying to, you got to certain points of the Rico.
Because I got no social life anymore. That's all.
Hey man, listen, man, we're up all night writing ourselves. So what was the
go ahead.
So the article you're talking about is Albany's ultimate protection racket, the triangle that became a circle of self-enrichment. Is that it?
No, that's not the Rico argument, but we can get into that too.
Wow.
She used the same law firm to go after Cuomo to defend her in a sexual assault action, which we previously discussed. Okay, so she's got the same law firm now.
Really?
What? In other words, Davis Polk helped her burn Cuomo, and now Davis Polk is defending her from being burned. Now, lawyers represent both sides, but here's where the story gets interesting. They had a contract with the U.S. Attorney's Office starting in 2023, I think it was. And the litigation is ongoing. They're filing motions and papers and whatever, right? And they're not getting paid. A year later, her husband joins the law firm, Kathy Hochul. His husband joins the law firm. And within a couple of months, all of a sudden, the money starts gushing in. In other words, they had to wait between the start of the contract and when they got paid was 451 days. Now, would you wait 451 days for your money?
Right.
All right. Well, so that is red flag number one. Okay. Kathy Hochul didn't choose who the attorneys were going to be. She chose who the attorneys were going to be. Okay.
Right.
So, and Kathy Hochul's husband is part of the firm. So now, okay, they're getting $480,000 from the Attorney General's office, right? That all of a sudden suddenly started to get paid when the husband came in, right? Now you got the $10 million that she had the bill passed to cover Letitia James's defense. If the Trump administration brings charges against her. So, listen, I'm an old guy. I've been around. Nothing in my world happens by accident, okay? Nothing is spontaneous or whatever. Everything, especially in politics, it's all transactional. So what you have here is, okay, what you have here is Tish James scratching her back and she's scratching Tish James's back.
Thank you to everyone who supported us through Super Chat. Your contributions keep independent media alive and thriving. We couldn't do it without you. Stand up, speak out, rock the message that matters, community before party. Get your shirt today and let your vote wear your interests and values over party loyalty. Stand strong, speak loud, wear the truth. The Black Mental Health Matters Tee. Support health, wellness, mental clarity, and independent media. Get yours now. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Support independent Black media with style. Rock Black Westchester merch and represent the news with the Black point of view. Every purchase helps us speak truth to power. Thanks for watching Black Westchester Magazine News, where the truth has no filter and the community comes first. We are the news with the Black point of view. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay informed, empowered, and engaged. Independent Black media matters. And we're just getting started. See you next time.